You're listening to Don't Tell Me to Relax, the award-winning, no-nonsense, always friendly, down-to-earth fertility podcast. I'm Hannah, a fertility acupuncturist and big believer that fertility care and education should be better. Each week, I sit down with a guest to share real stories, advice, and honest conversations to help you feel better informed. And for care and connection, we have our Don't Tell Me to Relax online fertility community and our clinics in London and across the UK. To find out more about getting involved and working with us, the details are in the show notes. Don't Tell Me to Relax is proudly sponsored by the lovely people at Acupips. Acupips is the original ear seed company founded by acupuncturist Zoe Young. Ear seeds are tiny seeds or metal beads attached to an adhesive and placed on pressure points in the ear. They're brilliant for calming the mind, easing anxiety and restoring balance. We use them in our clinics all the time. Head to acupips.com to find out more and use the code RELAX for 20% off. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are talking about something that comes up every single year in clinic and across our community: alcohol, Christmas, and trying to get pregnant. The festive season can feel like a real minefield when you're trying to conceive. There are parties, traditions, the pressure to just enjoy yourself, and often a lot of emotion is tied up in the end of the year. You might be feeling the weight of another year passing, wanting a bit of a blowout because you've worked so hard and still aren't where you hope to be. Or you might be trying to make the best choices for your fertility, knowing you're heading into treatment next year or planning to continue trying over Christmas. Wherever you are right now, this episode is for you. We're going to talk about what the evidence actually says about alcohol and fertility, how to navigate the social side of Christmas, and how to make decisions that feel realistic rather than restrictive. And who better to help us unpick all of this than friend of the show, our fertility nutrition queen, Kirsty Harrison, who, this is the first time on the podcast, she's joining me live and direct in the studio, aka the back bedroom, all the way from Yuki. So, Kirsty, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
It's fully been face to face.
It is.
So, let's dive straight in. Tell me, why do we drink so much at Christmas?
Well, Hannah, it's definitely, well, in my life anyway, just the norm, isn't it? It's associated with everyone's having Christmas parties, there's work parties, you're seeing your friends, you're trying to catch up with family, and drinking is a massive part of all of that. And it's something largely in this country, it's what we've all grown up with.
And I guess it's because we associate it with holidays
And fun,
relaxation.
Yeah.
All of those things are really heavily tied into alcohol, which I think is changing as they talk a lot, don't they, about the younger generation.
Definitely.
But I think there is still this huge pressure to drink and be merry.
But I think we also drink more at this time of year because we're trying to cram so much in to such a short period of time. So like the whole of December feels a bit like silly season, and we're constantly seeing people and having drinks. We probably drink more in this 2 weeks than we do. That's not a research science fact.
Yeah.
That's just something I've decided. But we probably drink more over 2 weeks over Christmas than we do at any other time of the year.
So if you're trying to conceive, tell us, because there is so much information out there that ranges from it's fine to have a few drinks to absolutely do not drink. And it is very, very confusing. So if you're trying to conceive, is it a blanket no for alcohol?
I think there's two... I think it's difficult. I think there is more research on those that are going through IVF than those that are not and are just trying to conceive naturally. I think research can get there's quite a few grey areas in that quite often in the research papers, alcohol is self-reported. And I think, as we know, we probably will all underreport what we're drinking. But there are some papers now that really do show that, unfortunately, alcohol does not really lead to particularly positive fertility outcomes.
And if you are going to drink, I know there has been this idea around the 14 units, which I think are the recommendations from an NHS perspective, not necessarily for fertility, but for general health. And I think there are a few papers that show you can have up to 14 units a week when you're trying to conceive. And I assume that is for both natural and IVF.
I actually think it's different for those who are going through IVF, which doesn't hugely make a massive amount of sense, because I think if you're drinking, it's going to be impacting you whether you're having IVF or not. But I think the evidence is pointing to you needing to drink less if you're going through an IVF cycle.
Okay. And so can you tell us, what is it about alcohol in itself that is so, not, I don't want to say the words bad for us, but
Yeah.
bad for us? Because I really think there has been this huge thought change about alcohol.
Yeah.
A bit like smoking, that there was a time when people thought smoking was okay and it was really publicised and promoted. And then all of a sudden, public health realised that it was actually really bad. And I feel like the same thing is happening with alcohol as we speak. So what is it about alcohol that is bad for our health in general?
But it's impacting so many different pathways. And I think that's quite a key. Like, it does affect so many things. So it's going to cause oxidative damage, which is going to directly impact our cells. And that would then include sperm and egg cells. It's inflammation. It's going to put extra, what's the word? Extra
Pressure?
pressure on your liver and your detox pathways there. It's going to really mess with your blood sugar regulation. Like, alcohol really does mess with it messes with your sleep. If anyone wearing a wearable device will know that it's going to be impacting your sleep when you've had a few drinks. So there's many different things. And then by knocking out your blood sugar regulation, that's going to then knock out your hormone health as well. So it really does, unfortunately, have quite a wide impact across our body.
The thing about it is that alcohol is so popular because I think the main reason alcohol is so popular is it is a very quick way to feel very relaxed.
Yeah.
And that is very difficult in the busy world that we live in, to find something that works so well.
Yes.
So it does have a purpose, but I guess it's about working out what is going to be right for you.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we have loads of events over Christmas, don't we? We were talking about earlier. So I think, do you really need to drink at all of them? Could you just pick out the ones that really matter to you most? And just drink at some of them? Yeah, I think you could look at everything you're doing over Christmas, what the things you've got to achieve, and really look at that and decide do you need to drink at all of them? Could you have a few drinks at some of them? Where could you avoid drinking if necessary? Just try and have a bit of balance around it. Like, it's not a blanket, no, you don't have to drink, but you do need to manage things a little bit so that you're not doing yourself more damage.
Yes, good plan. And is there anything, if you do decide that you're going to have a drink over Christmas, is there anything that you can do from a lifestyle point of view to mitigate? We talked about the impact on your blood sugar, on your sleep, on your inflammation markers, all of those things.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do to kind of mitigate that?
Yes, never drink on an empty stomach.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Number one rule.
Number one rule, which we've known since we were kids.
Yeah.
Never drink on an empty stomach. And I think that is really important. And if you're going to like a work event where you know that you're going to be served canapes and fizz or something, then have a sandwich before you go. Like, that's just, don't rely on those kind of foods to sustain you. Hydration, as we know, also really important, making sure you stay hydrated. Maybe even consider electrolytes, coconut water, even having bone broth or something the next day would be really useful to help you rehydrate. You really want to make sure that you're looking after your liver. Really good excuse to eat your Brussels sprouts. And so lots of green leafy vegetables. You want to help support your liver is working really hard. Really good sources of protein. Trying to eat something the next day that would really support recovery. So a nice protein-rich breakfast to help support your blood sugar levels as well. Lots of foods that contain B vitamins and zinc and vitamin C, which are all antioxidants that are going to help protect your cells and are the nutrients that get depleted really quickly when you're drinking. Yeah. And there are, I suppose, a lot of people who are trying to conceive will largely be taking quite a lot of supplements anyway, which is obviously not going to negate the effects of alcohol. But there are certain things like NAC, for example, which lots of people quite regularly take, which would be really good for liver support because it's a precursor to glutathione, which is the master antioxidant.
And I guess sometimes over Christmas, people can kind of throw everything out.
Yes.
Like it's like, oh, all bets are off. I'm not going to think about it. But I guess maintaining some of those habits, like taking your supplements, doing some exercise,
Yeah.
getting outside, having some physical activities, they're all going to stand you in good stead to
Yeah.
balance out a few drinks that you might have at a party.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you are going into a IVF cycle, you are still trying to conceive over Christmas. You don't really want to lose 2 weeks or however long to sort of not doing any of your good practices. And I think it will give you that sense of satisfaction and can like that bit of self control as well to know that you're sticking to all of those things as you move through.
Yeah. And so if somebody is going, because there will be lots of people going into IVF cycles in the new year,
Yeah.
often because obviously all the IVF clinics
Yeah.
stop and they shut down. And lots of people are feeling like waiting to January to come so they can start their treatment. If for those people, given what we know about the impact of alcohol on IVF outcomes, what would you say to them? If they said, should I drink over Christmas? What would you say?
I would say ideally, if I was being honest, completely honest, I would say if you're going into an IVF cycle in January, then no, really, I don't think you should be drinking over Christmas. But I realise that's a bit blanket and not what people want to hear. I think the research is suggesting that under 4 drinks a week is probably you're going to have much better outcomes than if you go above that. And that's really for both men and women. I think you need to, that's another key thing as well as remembering that it is, if you're going into it as a heterosexual couple, it's both of you that need to be on the same, you need to both have that conversation and both be on the same team.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that.
I guess 4 drinks a week is a really good number to hold on to, isn't it? Because it's really helpful to have a figure. Because when we at the beginning we were talking about 14 units.
Yeah, no one knows what a unit
What
is.
does that mean? It's really difficult to understand. And when you try and look at it on the NHS, it's really confusing because it depends on how strong your lager
It
is,
does, yeah.
what your wine is.
It's impossible.
It's really, really difficult. So I think 4 drinks a week and under. And I guess if you're thinking about it from an IVF perspective, and like you said, it would also relate to if you're trying to conceive as well.
Yeah.
It's good to have clear directions, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that you feel confident in your choices and it's not spiraling out of control, which is very easily done at this time of year when everybody's telling you to have a drink and be merry and all of that kind of
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah. And you might have to answer all those awkward questions about why you're not drinking as well. And you very politely need to tell them to, or not so politely, you need to tell them to bugger off.
Yeah, quite
and mind their
simply.
own business. but like bearing that in mind and making sure you've got non-alcoholic alternative or there are some great non-alcoholic drinks
Yeah.
around now. And being a bit prepared as well might help.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So the thing about non-alcoholic drinks is, are they full of sugar and rubbish to make them non-alcoholic, or are they okay? Like, what's your thoughts on alternatives?
There are lots of different alternatives that aren't full of sugar. I think that there's lots of gin companies that do really nice. I think Pentide Gin do a really nice alcohol-free gin. There's Mother Root and kombucha, which is obviously going to be benefiting your gut microbiome as well. So there are lots of alternatives. Some I would, like non-alcoholic lagers and ciders and things are still going to be fairly high in sugar, I would say, but there are alternatives. And also, again, in moderation, these things aren't going to be doing too much harm.
Yeah. And is there anything else that people need to think about? Because if people are listening to this and they do decide that they're going to have a drink, and this is a conversation I have a lot with people, and I've done a couple of reels on it, is that alcoholic drink that you have at Christmas is not going to be the reason why you don't conceive this cycle.
It's not a direct cause and effect,
Yeah.
is it? There's too many other things that are at play. Just because you have a couple of drinks or you overdo it or whatever, it might not have worked or it might have worked anyway. We just don't know.
Yeah.
So there's no point feeling shame or guilt or anything around that. You just need to dust yourself off and get back on.
And if people do find that they're feeling guilty or shame or fear around it, then I always say, well, then don't do it, because because it's the worst of both worlds, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is,
If
yeah.
you've had the drink and then you feel the guilt of having the drink, there has
Yeah.
been no benefit
Yeah,
from that
not at all.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think, and I know it's difficult, and I know there is a lot of pressure around eating and drinking and Christmas and trying to conceive, but if you can have the drink and enjoy the drink,
Yeah.
and enjoy the occasion that you've chosen to have the drink, then the impact of that joy and that dopamine and that connection with people around you is going to have a huge benefit on all of those things we've talked about: oxidative stress, anti-inflammation, because you're flooding your body
with the good stuff.
with the good stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can think about it like that, then please do and enjoy.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then I think maybe saying no
It's the best option.
is the best option.
Also, I think in the grand scheme of things, and hopefully in many people's cases, this is a short-term situation, isn't it? It's not like we're saying you can't have a drink at Christmas for the rest of your life. We're just saying that whilst you're going through this, maybe it's just not the priority, and ultimately you will feel better for not drinking over the Christmas period. We all would.
It is true. It is true. And we were just going to say, and you did touch on it before, but just to reiterate, the importance of this is for men and women.
Absolutely. This is absolutely for men and for women, because it really can affect sperm health very negatively. And I think that's something that's very worth remembering. Like, the oxidative stress and inflammation point is very much going to be impacting sperm health for sure. While sperm does recover, it takes 3 months for it to recover. So
Yeah.
that's good. You don't want to be delaying things any further than necessary.
So I guess having these conversations and making an agreement together is going to be helpful
Yeah.
before you go
Well,
through.
you should both be on the same page.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, what I will do, thank you, Kirsty,
You are very
for
welcome.
this in-person, never happened before podcast. What we will do is, if it's helpful to look at research and see what the research says, we're going to link some of there's lots and lots of different research papers out there, and you are obviously welcome to look at it, but we'll link some of it so you can see. So if you find it helpful to see what the evidence says.
And maybe share that with your partner.
Exactly. Share it with your partner, friends and family who are the ones saying, go on, have a drink. It doesn't matter, cut loose.
Yeah.
All of those things. If it's beneficial to share some information with them so that you're not under that pressure, then we're going to link all of this on the show so you can have a look at that and share as you like. So, Kirsty, thank you very much. It has been very exciting.
Thank you for having me.
Before we go, I just want to say a great big thank you for listening to Don't Tell Me to Relax this year. I really hope that somewhere in some of those episodes you have found something that has been helpful on your journey as you try to conceive. This is the last episode of 2025, but we will be back in 2026, and we look forward to welcoming you into our community and to further episodes. If you'd like to leave us a review, we would be so grateful. You can do so on Spotify or Apple. And we just want to say a Merry Christmas and have a good New Year, and we'll see you in 2026. We hope you have found this helpful. If you'd like more on fertility education, please see our Teaching to Conceive free course linked at the end of the show. You'll also find the link to join our community. For more personalised fertility support, you can work with us one-to-one in clinic and online. You can book a discovery call to find out more.